Good evening, everyone. It is a warm and sunny afternoon in the woods. This weekend is Christmas, and this is the first time I've gotten a chance to get out this week. I'm mostly planning on trying to find a spring salamander today. Ian's going to meet me out here, and we're going to hike around for a little bit. And I'm probably going to wrap this video up with a few clips from last week that never made it into a video because I just ended up having a lot more footage last week than I was expecting. But yeah, we'll get into that later. For now, let's go find some salamanders and see what we can turn up. All right, guys, we got some pretty good spring salamander habitat here. Nice open creek, lots of rocks and logs in it. So we're gonna work this for a little bit and see what we can turn up. All right, guys, it took a while, but I finally turned up our first salamander that we were able to get in hand. This is a nice sized seal salamander. This is actually a currently undescribed species that will end up being pretty much endemic to the Piedmont of Alabama and Georgia, which is really cool. For desmogs, these guys are actually huge, and this one isn't even as big as they get. That's one of the coolest things about this weird mystery species we have here, is that they're just comically large for a desmog. They get almost as big as blackbellies, which are the biggest desmog. And they pretty much rule these creeks around here, and they're at least when they're this big, are too big to be eaten by the spring salamanders. So, but the littler ones are definitely the food, one of the main food sources for our target today, the spring salamanders. So it's a good sign we're seeing these guys. We're just gonna let him go back under his rock. But nice big seal salamander is our first in-hand herp of the day. All right, buddy, here's your rock. He actually wasn't even down by the water. It's kind of interesting. I think that is a desmog larvae, but it could be a Eurycia. Very tiny little salamander larvae in this leaf packet. It's a nice little southern two-line salamander. You can kind of see him right there. We'll pull him out and get a better look at him. He's got some nice danglies too. This is a nice male. All right, we're just gonna let this guy go back under his log. But very nice, little southern two-line. There's another one of these big guys. Whoa! Big desmogs. We've seen a couple of them today. I'm sure we'll see plenty more. There's this habitat. Beautiful grassy hillside above a nice rocky creek. And we have not seen our target yet. This little guy's cool. I think this is a metamorph desmog getting ready to turn into his adult stage, but kind of cool looking. He was just in this leaf litter right here, so we'll let him go. You can see almost looks like a water dog, but they have much different body shape and gills. Really cool. Keep going through this leaf litter and see if there's anything else. Check that guy out. It's a very tiny little desmog. Very cool. Just in the same little leaf packet here. There's another nice desmog. Looks like another seal. There are spotted duskies in here, but I think that's just a smaller seal. But we're just gonna leave him to it. Really hoping to see a spring, but we've been having a kind of difficult time just finding salamanders, so it might not be happening today. Well, after several hours of messing around in the creek and flipping logs, there's our first grouper of the day. Very nice. Northern red salamander. Well, it's not the colorful salamander we were hoping to see, but it's better than no colorful salamander. These guys are fairly common in the winter months, just under logs in the woods near creeks. And I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty more of them over the next couple weeks, if not more today. So we'll just put him back under his log. Go on. It's like a little bulldozer. Anything that gets in its way just gets ran over. All right, guys, well, the salamandering wasn't going terribly well, so I decided to walk to a different area. It's got some nice bluffs over here that are southwest facing, which means they get good sun during the winter, and could have some snakes out. So we're gonna look around these and then potentially hit another creek in this same little area before we call it a day. So hopefully we'll be able to see some more stuff over here. So tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and unfortunately we had some really cold weather come in overnight last night, and it dropped the temperature down to the mid-20s. So we had a real hard freeze last night. Not too surprising, there aren't many snakes out today, or any snakes out for that matter that I've seen. But I really was expecting to at least do decent with salamanders today, which we kind of have. It hasn't been the worst, but it's definitely been a little bit slow. So I'm gonna head over to another creek. I don't think there's gonna be any snakes out with that overnight last night, even though it feels like it's probably around 60 degrees right now. It's fairly warm. But yeah, that overnight last night was just gnarly. So we're gonna go back to the water and see if we can find some salamanders, I guess, to kind of wrap up the day. So even with all the rain we had last week, which wasn't really, it wasn't flooding rain, but we had a lot of rain, and the water level of the creeks and rivers is still super low. So we are still behind schedule with rain. You can see this creek's not nearly as high as it should be this time of year. And I think that has once again been kind of the cause of our issues here. Last time we got out, when we found all those snakes in the last episode, it was a lot warmer than this, and we had rain the night before, and even that day we found a rattlesnake sitting out in the rain. So I think this combination of dry and sunny in the winter is pretty much an activity killer. Something else worth noting, as you can see, the sun is already kind of starting to get near the tree line, which means it's going to start getting dark on me here soon. But the fantastic news is yesterday was the winter solstice, I believe. So the shortest day of the year is behind us, and for the next 6 months or so, we're going to have progressively longer days until the summer solstice, when the days start getting short again. So little victories today, little victories. Even if we're not seeing a ton of herps, we at least know that the next couple outings are going to be longer than this one. And to me, that is very comforting, because my least favorite thing about winter is definitely that the days are so short. Because we do get plenty of decent weather in the winter. When the sun goes behind the trees at 2:30, it makes it hard to actually get a full day's herping in when it starts getting dark so early in the day. So at the very least, we have lots of longer days to look forward to over the next couple of months. There's a nice little on the way back to the car dusky. That definitely looks like a spotted dusky. So we've now seen the 2 species that live in this area today. The best way to identify these guys is to look at their bellies, but you can also just tell based on the size, because the seal salamanders get so much bigger in this area. But if I were to flip this guy over, he would have a spotted belly, and if I were to flip the seal salamander over, it would be much less boldly patterned underneath. But I'm just going to gently lower this back on top of him. We're going to keep making our way back towards the car. There's yet another little spotted dusky. You can see these guys are, that's a normal sized adult. They get a little bit bigger than that, of course, but definitely not quite as cantankerously built. This guy's actually chilling. You can see that mottled pattern on his belly. Very nice. And just so you can see the habitat difference, this is a much lower, more seepy kind of floodplain area, whereas the seal salamanders are living in the more rocky, montane-looking areas. You'll definitely get Conan tie up in the more rocky seeps, but it'd be kind of weird to find a seal salamander down here in the swampy stuff. All right, guys, nothing crazy today, but we actually managed to find a couple of decent salamanders at least. I know I have a lot of footage from last week that I didn't get out last week, so probably gonna finish up the video with that. Actually, I'm gonna flip that rock. Little red centipede. No salamanders though. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to cut to the footage from the other day, which is going to be more salamander stuff, but we at least got into some really cool habitat and set up some pretty good 10 spots that I think are going to be awesome in the future. So unless I see something between here and the car, I'm going to cut to that day, and I will see you guys then. Good morning, everyone. It has been a couple of days since you guys last saw me. As you can see, it's still pretty dry. This is normally a wetland and there's no water here right now. At this point, we're significantly behind in precipitation, and it's gonna take a lot of rain to catch us up fast. But either way, I'm out here exploring another new park. I'm gonna kind of do similar to what I did in the last video to wrap up this episode, and just check out this new park and see what all we can get into. Once again, this area has a lot of wetlands. Looks like fantastic king snake habitat. Wouldn't be shocked to see one out today. It's in the high 50s. Supposed to get up to as high as maybe 60s, 65. Yesterday ended up getting a lot warmer than they thought it was going to, so hopefully that'll happen today too. But either way, I'm gonna get after it, and I will let you guys know when I start getting into some good habitat. I'm not kidding when I say there's 10 everywhere. You just gotta find it. I'm gonna see if this piece is actually worth it. It looks like a decent piece of tin, so I'm gonna see if I can get in there and flip it and maybe put it in a better spot for next time. Well, it's not the best piece of tin, but this little area is a perfect spot right on the edge of this swamp, so hopefully it'll produce something eventually. But I pulled it out in the open. It's pretty rusted up, unfortunately. Probably won't last very long, but maybe I'll find a snake or two under it. And what would be a more fitting first find at this spot than a slimy salamander? These guys are just about everywhere if you haven't noticed from my videos. And you can find them pretty much year-round just by turning logs. Basically anywhere there's forests in the East Coast. So yeah, first species documented at this park. I'm gonna take a quick photo of him and then we're gonna leave him right there. So one of the things that caught my attention about this place is this giant wetland. Looks very similar to the area we explored in the last video, but maybe even potentially bigger and better. You can kind of see it's opening up over there. There's a couple logs right here. We'll flip first though. Let's see if there's anyone hanging out. It's decent. It's not something we flip very often. There's a little northern cricket frog. Could actually be a southern in this area. But either way, normally we see those guys hopping around, so it's kind of weird to flip one. He's super dark though, no color on him at all. I'm just gonna lower his log back. He seems to be chilling. Oh, there's another cricket frog. That's weird. 2 of those today. Well, would you look at that? It's a little green tree frog. Lots of weird frogs undercover today. Not the usual cast of characters we see this time of year, but I'm not complaining about it. That's very cool. Love seeing green tree frogs in the winter. I'm gonna get a picture real quick and put his log back. So apparently there's just a lot of cricket frogs here. That's the 3rd one today. Very cold and looking a little bit out of season. There's that cricket frog, and didn't see this guy at first. Little bronze frog. Nice. 2 species under this log. And here's another green frog. Super weird to be seeing more frogs than salamanders while out flipping logs. Very interesting. And yet another green frog. I don't know if I've been calling these bronze frogs. I don't think we're quite far enough south for bronze frogs. Yeah, that's like our 3rd green frog in the last 5 minutes. Really weird. I have never just flipped this many green frogs before. There's 2 under this log. One there and one over there. Double green frog flip. So aside from the fact that I can only find frogs and I haven't even seen a single salamander actually down here by the water. We got that slimy up in the uplands. But this looks so fantastic and I can't seem to find any salamanders. It's really kind of frustrating. So what I might do is I might try to get on the other side over there where it looks a little seepier and maybe see if I can get into some stuff in that area. So I think the simplest explanation for why we're not seeing many salamanders is a lot of this is not ephemeral. This is the floodplain of a very big river. And it seems like a lot of where there would normally be good salamander habitat is underwater for most of the year. So there's not a lot of temporary fishless water that I've been able to find, which is what the salamanders really need to breed. So I'm gonna keep walking around and see if I can find a little bit more suitable habitat. I do like this place a lot, but mostly because it looks good for snakes, which now is not the best time for, as it would turn out. This squirrel has a mushroom. Come here, mushroom squirrel. Oh, there's a towhee over there. Mushroom squirrel and a towhee. I wish y'all could see this mushroom flopping about in the squirrel's mouth. I don't know how well any of that came out, but it's pretty hilarious. Look at that. Well, that took all day for the most part. That is a big female marbled salamander, and she is not on eggs. Actually, she looks gravid, honestly. She is quite thick. Hopefully that is a good omen that we are in a better area now. So I'm gonna leave her to it and keep flipping. But there's our first salamander of the day. Several hours after getting here, which is not ideal, but I'm hoping that we were just not in the right habitat at first, and that maybe we're getting into some better stuff now. So I'm just gonna leave her to it. And only a few logs past our first salamander of the day, here is our second salamander of the day. Something I was expecting us to see hours ago, but it took us the better part of the afternoon to get one. Of course, this is the southern two-line salamander, but not too much to look at. We see these guys all the time, so I'm just gonna get a quick photo and leave him to it. So I may or may not have forgotten about the slimy and said those were the first salamanders of the day, which is of course incorrect. We found a beautiful slimy salamander that I completely forgot about. Oh yeah, that's what I've been looking for all day. Beautiful piece of tin. This one looks like it's actually largely, there's a couple of them. There's another one right there. Oh yeah. Let's see if we can flip this bad boy. Dang. Looks kind of good right there, honestly. All right, so this turned out to be 3 pieces. We got that nice big one, and then these 2 smaller square ones I dug up. So I'm gonna look around this area a little bit and see if I can find a better place to put these, and if not, we'll just leave them right here. And here's our next marbled salamander in situ. Looks like another big, healthy female. Really interesting. We're not really anywhere that would flood, so I don't think they're gonna be laying their eggs under these logs. It's possible they already did lay their eggs and are just moving back up into the uplands. Both of these ones we found have been super big and plump and healthy looking, so really encouraging. Even though we've only seen 2 of them, they're both very healthy and both females. So anyways, I was actually a cricket frog on top of this log when I went to flip it, and I think I hear him moving around over there, but we're just gonna put her back. I'm still kind of looking around for somewhere I want to put this tin, so I'm gonna get back to it. All right, everyone, well, I moved that tin to an area that I think it'll be good nearby, and hopefully it won't get messed with by anyone. This is a pretty busy park. But yeah, this place is really cool. It's beautiful. I think it has a lot of potential, especially for snakes. I mean, this trail right here looks super king snaky, and looking forward to coming back out here when it's a little bit warmer. All right, everyone, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. Hopefully it wasn't too weird with the older video ending this one. But I am gonna wrap this one up here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys after Christmas. Probably get 1 or 2 more episodes in for 2021 before the new year.